Miami Dolphin fans, let me ask you something. Do you love the Dolphins? Do you think they are the greatest football team? How about the greatest show on surf? If you answered yes to any or all of these questions, then fins up and surfs up to the greatest show on surf.shop today. Celebrate the most explosive offense in the NFL with this awesome exclusive merch. From jackets, hats, shirts, and more, they have it all. Use promo code FINSTALK and save 15% on your order. Show off your fandom. Don't wait. Go to thegreatestshowonsurf.shop today.
Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team. We take the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen. We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And
all right, as always, Dolphins number one, baby!
So fins up to all of you guys. Thank you for doing
I just want everybody to remember, we may not always agree on everything Miami Dolphins, but there's one thing we do agree on, is we are all Dolphin fans. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Real Talk Fins Talk for another exciting night with our co-host, Mr. Rob Mosley, a.k.a. Dolphin Thirsty. And we got a special guest tonight from the Fins Tailgate, El Capitan.
Salute. Thank you for the red carpet. I don't know if I deserve it so much, but what an introduction. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, man. I'm just happy that you joined us tonight, man. What we're trying to do here at the Fins Talk Sports Network and Real Talk Fins Talk, the show that you're on right now, is we're trying to get and do a collab with all the content creators, you know, and get their point of view, their opinions out there, give them a platform. Not that they don't have a platform already, but for me personally and Rob, we enjoy hearing other opinions, other viewpoints. And I always say, remember, we may not always agree everything Miami Dolphins, but there is one thing we do agree on, is we are all Dolphins. That's what I stand on, brother. But anyway, Rob, I want to know what you got going on at Dolphin Thursday.
Yeah, growing slowly, man. Always just hit the 600 mark. So all, as I say, they're teammates, not subscribers. It's a lot of fun. I just do a lot of everything Miami Dolphins, and it's a lot of fun. So thank you, man. And my website's down for a couple of days, but I'll be back up and running. Just anything, man. It's all my cake. Editor. I'm everything on the website. I'm the editor, the proofreader. So if there's 1,000 errors, you can blame me, because I can't blame the writer, because I am the writer. So it is all good, though, but it's all fun. So thank you, Steve.
Okay, and do you have any other shows going on your network as well?
Yeah, we got Doll right there most Mondays. Yeah. This week she couldn't do it last night, but Courtney, 7:30 p.m. almost every Monday, puts on good show and always good. And then now on Fridays, I'm on this network, on the Fins Talk Sports Network, talking baseball. And yes, I jump outside of South Florida for my baseball passion. Because, hey, I'm older than you, El Capitan. I was born before the Marlins were a thing. And when you grow up as a kid, that's when your real interest in the team sets in. And it's just,
I'm not the biggest baseball fan, so I'll be honest, I could care less.
You know, I know you're not a big.
I'm not really a baseball dude.
I know. So anyway, I'm talking baseball every Monday, 10 a.m. on Fins Talk Sports Network. So thank you, Steve.
Hey, absolutely. And I see Dolls in here. Appreciate you for joining us tonight. Ender, I see Ender's in here. I saw Raphael was in here too tonight. So appreciate all of you for joining us tonight. Don't forget to hit that like button. It's free, guys. So hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Share with your friends, your families, your neighbors. And so let's get on with the show. El Capitan, brother. I just want to ask you a question. Number one, how long have you been a Dolphins fan, brother?
So I'm born into it. So okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm from South Florida, born in West Palm, 85, so 38 years. My dad's a Dolphins fan, and really it was my grandfather on my mother's side that was the football fan, right? He became a Dolphins fan in the 70s. He's, He immigrated here from Italy or Sicily,
wow.
excuse me.
Yeah.
When he was super young, lived up in New York, came down to South Florida sometime later where my mom and dad met each other, and he was really the football fan. Got my dad into it. I was born into it. I got, little baby pictures of me wearing Dolphins gear, helmets, running around naked. You know what I'm saying? With a Dan Marino helmet on. Everybody has, kid running around stark naked in the house, but mine, I had a Dan Marino helmet on. So yeah, I've been it forever, man. I've always loved the team. I would say that hands down out of all sports, this was the thing that bound the family the most. And I played football for, 10 years from when I was a little kid all the way through high school. Loved the sport. And, I was going to games when I was little. My granddad, again, he was the guy, he had season tickets for forever. And my earliest memories, probably getting into some scuffles with some Buffalo fans. Like, that's some of the earlier memories I got where me and the family are screaming and throwing stuff at Buffalo fans. And, Jim Kelly beating us on Sunday night, killing my heart, crying on the way down and stuff. But, yeah, it's been in the blood, man. And now I drag my children through it. So that's how it's done around here.
Don't worry. I hear you. My kids grew up Dolphin fans too. They're 21 and 18 now, and sometimes they look at me. Why you pick this team? I go, because we were born and raised into Senate.
That's me. It. So, we live and die, no matter what. And the die part, we've been doing more lately. So
yeah, exactly. Like I said, my 21-year-old man, he's University of Florida going into his third year in the fall, and he hasn't even seen a playoff win. So. And he's still a fan. So the young guys to be a fan is a lot. So that's cool.
Gotta respect these younger breed of kids, especially in their 20s, right? Like their late teens, early 20s. Like, what have they had up until recently? Like, they've had nothing but just, kind of the same, really, if you want to know. Salute to everybody in chat. I see a lot of familiar names in there. Salute to the homies, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yes, the Orange Bowl, where, Joe Robbie Stadium, where you sat on the concrete seats up in the top and the whole place shook like this, and it was it was awesome, man. It was a really great experience. So I've been it for life.
Great. And like Rob has already told you, he's been a fan, I guess, over 40 years. I've been a fan since 1969. I'm from South Florida. I'm from Hialeah, Miami Springs area. Went to Miami Springs Senior High School down there in South Florida. Got to see the Miami Dolphins, go 17-0. Got to see Greasy and Zonka and Kick and Warfield and Murky.
God
all
bless
those
you,
guys.
Steve. You guys got to see the good stuff, bro.
Yeah, man. And I didn't know it at the time, but yeah, I was seeing history, man. I was seeing history being made right before my eyes. As a kid, you don't realize that until later in life. And now, like you said, Cap, I feel for these young kids. The pain that they've gone through for the last 20, 23, 24 years. So, but anyway, I was blessed able to see him from South Florida. And you said you're Sicilian. I have a little Sicilian myself on my on my grandmother's side. Cimino was their last names. So they're from Sicily.
Collega on this side. They're it's real super Italian.
There you go. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. But anyway, also now let's get to Fins Tailgate. I've been watching Fins Tailgate for probably a year and a half, maybe off and on here and there. And you are, and we talked about this in backstage. You guys are get to be a rowdy bunch at times. But you know what? I love it. There's a place for that in this community. And even though you're getting rowdy and you're going at each other, you still have respect for each other. You got a tight knit group there at the Fins Tailgate, and it's just awesome to see and to hear a lot of good football knowledge too. A lot of good football knowledge, and I've learned some things from watching the Fins Tailgate as well. So let me ask you, Chris. If you don't mind, I'll call you Chris.
Yeah. Of course.
All right, Chris. So how long has the Fins Tailgate actually been in existence? Are you the founder, or how did it get started?
So yes, I am the founder. Last November 16th, I get hazy, but that was the like very first date on when the show released its first episode. So it's been a little over 2 years now.
Okay.
And I, like, again, grew up diehard Dolphins fan, and I would listen to the 560 stuff and things like that.
Right.
But you all know you hang on. It's kind of like it was the new way of doing the newspaper for a little while there. Where, like, you just get the newspaper, you try to find the one bit of Dolphins news. Well, then now in podcasts in the off season, even the ones down south in the local areas, you still waiting all show to hear some Dolphin stuff, and if at all. So I started venturing out, seeing what was happening on YouTube, and I was digging it. And I was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because I could find all this information. But as far as a conversation and debate and, other information that I didn't find, it was a new deal. And I was like, man, I really needed to get this rolling. Plus, I'm kind of a talker, and it was it was a nice thing to venture in and becoming part of this community at large, and meeting guys all over the place. I've made a lot of friends that now all these guys, none of the guys that are on the channel right now, except for one, my producer, who doesn't, well, two actually, sorry. TMI Tuesdays with Tonk, who's a seasonal episode. He's my oldest friend. And then my other guy, who's a producer, Zippa in the back, HB, he's a friend from where I grew up. But everybody else I met, all the guys that partake and do their own shows on the network, they are now the family of the TFTG. And what I had hoped for it to become has manifested itself into, for lack of a better term, like a dream that came together. I wanted to be more involved in the community. I wanted to find like-minded individuals, and I also wanted to see what was out there that could change my mind. And I think that's why everybody in chat, everybody like guys like yourself, we're all looking for the same thing out of this, and that's to take our fandom to another level and be involved. And that's what we've all accomplished, and we should all feel good about it. You talk about the subscribers you just hit, Rob. You guys on the Fins Talk Sports Network, what you guys do, and we're in it for these reasons. They're personal reasons, just like the team is to us, a personal thing. And to find other people that you could share that with, rather than talking your ear off to the family members and friends that don't want to hear it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That don't want to hear it. As much as a Dolphins fan my father is, he doesn't give a damn. Like he does and doesn't. My whole family, they're rooting, but they ain't in depth. My brother-in-law is the only guy that's kind of like that, but yeah, whatever. But yeah, that's why I did it. That's what I wanted, and I also, I love the heated debates. Don't get me wrong. I will agree with the people that sometimes the program is too bad. You got to stop it. Like, I got some of the guys that really get in, but that's okay, because there has to also be a healthy outlet. We see how toxic.
Sure, absolutely.
We see how toxic the internet is. You go on Facebook, go on X, go on YouTube, and scroll through the comments at the end. There's a lot of people letting out some form of aggression, and to me, it just speaks that they don't feel like they're being heard. And having a platform and providing services to have people be heard is really the embodiment. And I had always hoped that when I did this, that I could show somebody else that watched that they could do it too, and they would come and join me. And that's how I gathered the guys I got. And each guy that comes up next sets an example for somebody else to come up and join us. That's what this is, man. It's a beautiful blockchain, for lack of a better term.
No, absolutely. So. I agree with you 100%. And I got into it for basically the same reasons. I looked around for Dolphin content and stuff. And quite frankly, a lot of the stuff that comes out of some of the beat writers and things like that, it just wasn't enough for me. I think sometimes they don't tell you everything. And they can't. And I understand that. They've got their badges. They've got to go in and talk to these, into the locker room and the players and the media and all that kind of stuff. I get it. So that's why I started this platform, Real Talk Fins Talk, Real Talk, right? Real Talk Fins Talk. We just talk real talk. And some folks, sometimes they don't like what I have to say or what Rob have to say, but if I always say they can shut us off or go watch somebody else if they want hopium. There's platforms for that too.
There's no shortage of what you want to find out here on these streets.
Absolutely. So, Rob, how do you feel? How did you feel?
I'm the same way. He brought up radio, and to this day, I love Joe Rose, but goodness, sometimes I can get in my car, drive to and I might hear like 10 seconds of just Joe Rogan. Not even talking about what he's like. It's like commercial. I've literally got in my car, drive to a whole destination, which is no quick order sometimes in South Florida. And by the time I'm getting out of the car, they're finally, hey, we're back here. And so I'm like tired of commercials. So here you come on. Yeah, you may get a couple, but most of the live streams don't have commercials pop up during it. And if so, it's just like 30 seconds and it's done and boom. So that's where I get tired of. It's just like, and like you said, I'm not a hockey guy or a basketball guy, really. I'm more of a Miami Dolphins down here. They're never going to talk about my baseball team down here. So I just go. If I want to hear, might as well be in, Boston. If I want to find Boston Red Sox, I go in here and I find any channel just like Dolphin channels. Dolphins here. That's
absolutely.
It's perfect. The internet is made. All the bad that's on the internet, there's also good that you can get what you want. And it's on your door.
Gotta have the yin to the yang.
Where, like you, Steve, I used to wait because I love stats and all that. I would have to wait for the Miami Herald to come the next morning and look at all the stats and all that. And it's like instant. You know everything and everyone. I mean, yes, it's going to be bad because you're going to get, you hear a lot more crazy stuff. But overall, I think the good outweighs the bad because I'm good. I spent over 20 years. I don't want to get to show my age as a cop. I know how to tune out the bad. I know how to turn out the noise. So if I don't like it, it doesn't exist in Rob's world, so I don't care. It doesn't rub me. I've been called every name. I've been spat on. I've been everything. So no one's going to hurt my feelings here on the media. And that's why I love it. It's just great. And it's
how I feel, buddy. It's how I feel.
Yeah.
And we get in our feelings. Everybody does.
Oh, yeah, everyone does. Everyone does that sometimes. So of
course. But working through it, it's like it's a healthy thing, I think.
Yeah,
I think there's a healthy byproduct by having these debates.
No doubt, and that's why I started just recently, just last week. We had Tuesday therapy on Real Talk Fins Talk, so we're going to be doing that once a month. We have Tuesday therapy where we have an open panel show. Everybody could come in and just let out how they feel. And like you said, it's a good thing. People can come out here, voice their opinions, whether we agree with them or not, and just let it out. It's good therapy. It's healthy. It's a healthy arguing and going back and forth as long as it's respectful. I mean, that's the way I feel about it anyway.
I think Kohler's the best, but I would never. That's one man I would never start an argument with.
Dude, do not get into a tango with Color, bro. It is not worth it. He's not worth it.
I think he can even outshout you, Steve. So
not only can he outshout, but there's no end to how long this guy can last. It's inevitable. You're gonna give up. It's insane.
That's true. I don't bother with it.
we actually had Color on here last year. We had him on the show.
Yeah,
I'd like to get him back on the show too. I like Color.
Yeah, he'll come.
Yeah, for sure. So look, I wanted to get into a little of the Dolphins, a little bit of Dolphins talk today, right? A little discussion on. I want to get your take or how you feel, Mike McDaniel. I want to talk a little bit about Mike McDaniel to start off. Capitan, let me get your opinion. How do you feel Mike McDaniel has manned the ship thus far as the coach of the Miami Dolphins?
So this is a very layered answer because, listen, I've been a Dolphins fan forever, like I said. So I have a bit of hard time trusting whatever they're selling. You feel me? If they're selling me on some stuff, and I've been sold the genius, guru, whisperer nonsense before. I was very leery on the guy. Plus, I liked the other coach. I understand he was, a hard guy to work with, But to me, if you're going to go to battle, you need that type of stuff. It's just as effective. I was very leery about this new hire and what he could do. By all accounts, they kind of upselled him in some ways. That's what I was worried about. They were selling it hard. By all accounts, the man has delivered. I feel that he's, for the better part of what he can control, which is the offensive side of the ball, he has wrangled that entirely together in a way that I feel very comfortable about. Even if he were to do it with a different quarterback, I would be immensely interested to see if it would be the same system or if he's the type of guy that can tailor-make. Because by how it seems now with Tua, this is tailor-made. It is, the San Francisco style, but I'm sorry, this is really a tailor-made offense for Tua, and it's the byproduct has been excellent results for him in the numbers game. I do have some, stuff that is what I kind of expected. I know there's other people that might go hard on Mike McDaniel for this, but I still kind of expect clock management issues, timeout issues, things of that nature, right? I wonder this year, because this is his third year, and nobody's talking about this. And I'm glad you brought the question up because it's something I was going to get into, but I will share my thoughts with you guys. Mike McDaniel has handled the offensive side of the ball, but you're a head coach now. This is year 3 coming up. This is important. You've now gone through 2 defensive coordinators. The Dolphins have brought in a third guy. Are you going to go through 4 defensive coordinators? And every year you just get a new defense. We're just going to blame the defense as a franchise and as a team for the failures of the that's really where they hang it. Right now the excuse is the injuries and stuff, but that's a topic of different thing. But firing the defensive coordinator, because I don't care what you say, you fired the guy because he was under a big long deal. You can't be changing out your system every year. And so now I wonder, through this Fangio being gone, Mike McDaniel, is he going to reel back the control and play calling? Maybe not so much play calling, but I need him to focus more on this defense as well. That's what a head coach does. They are a delegator. They are, just like Tua is, they are the point guard. You make the decisions. You make the calls. I don't want to see him on the sideline looking at, why did you make this call to the defensive guy? Why didn't you stop him, head coach? Now, the first 2 years, I'm willing to let it sit. Fine. But not anymore. This is the time. And you've now gone through a couple DCs. This is your third one. And we're going to talk about this later because you mentioned it. I feel like it's necessary with a guy that's unproven at the defensive coordinator position that we're now bringing here. And that we'll get on that later. But all in all, these first 2 years, pleased in spades. But there is a lot. It's a different game he's playing now in year 3 with everything that's happened. And especially if they pay Tua, that's at his feet too. You've now hooked it. He's been hooked to Tua, but this paying of him ensures that you better have success because that quarterback ain't going nowhere. And every team, if the quarterback can't take you nowhere, it ain't the quarterback that's getting paid all the money that goes first. It's going to be the coach. And like it or not, because I think it would be a terrible decision, that's what happens. So,
yeah, good points. My take on Mike McDaniel is number one, I never heard of the guy when he got before he got hired. I didn't know who the hell he was. I had and I think you're the same, right, Rob? You basically didn't know who he was either.
On me, I was like,
both you guys, right?
I think we're all in that boat, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I had no clue who he was. I had to go do a little research, find out who he was, and I did. The first year, I gave him a little slack. I said, okay, he's a first year coach. Blah 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 blah. He did well. I thought he did well for his first year. Second year, he did a little better. He won more games, but the same problems keep coming up. Clock management. Some of the play calls were questionable in my mind. And then I started doing a little bit more research and watching all 22 and all this. And then I started looking at, damn, he's basically calling the same plays. He'll call the same play 15, 20 times a game. It's just a little wrinkle here and there, but it's the same play.
And it's to a different target more often than not, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. And then also when I looked into it a little more, I also saw that yes, this offense is particularly tailor-made for Tua Tagovailoa, no doubt about it. And I must admit, he manages it well. He manages it well with his quick release, his accuracy. Now, I didn't say ball placement. You notice that? I said accuracy. Accuracy and ball placement are different. He's very accurate. And I know a lot of folks, and I've been guilty of this, calling him a first read quarterback. And well, what I've seen on film, he does go to his first read a lot. There was one point in the season last year where I saw some stats where 80% of the balls that he threw were to his first read.
Well,
80%.
To second your point, and I if I may,
yeah, absolutely.
I think it's more than the first read, right? I think it's whatever the play call is from the time the ball is snapped.
Right.
Beyond the it's 100% of that. So you got 80% of the first read. I'm saying 100% is who the play is called to is where he's going to go. And if it's not there and he doesn't throw it, the offense completely, bottoms out. And that's something that we need to address. And look, if you're throwing on average for, what was he throwing, 2.5 seconds or something like that?
Yeah, it was like 2.5 seconds.
That's it's the only way to throw that offense and do it that quick is to go to the first read. There's no way you're going through progressions in 2.5 seconds. It's impossible.
Well, here's my question, Capitan and Rob. Is it the O-line? Do you think the reason why he was having to get the ball off at 2.5 seconds, and the reason why?
You want to take it, Rob?
But because remember, Chris Greer said we were more worried about the offensive line than he was. So I'm just wondering, was this all in the plans already, where Mike McDaniel had already, put this together, where we can get him to get the ball out a lot quicker. We don't have to worry about the offensive line, or is it just this is the way that the design is made? It's made this way for Tua Tagovailoa, or was it tailor-made for the offensive line because of the I guess because of the injuries and things that we had, and Taron Armstead going down, Connor Williams going down, all these folks going down? I don't know. What was it? Rob, I'll let you go first.
Well, that's a lot to put in there, Steve. But basically, everything there, remember, I have attention to deficit, Steve. So, but anyway, basically, the thing is, yes, I think it's a yes to that long answer. Yes, it's tailor-made for both, I think, because they know Tua probably better at that style, that quick rhythm passing, but also it compensates for our lack of offensive line consistency over the past couple of years. Because going into this past year, I mean, we've had, now it looks like we may have back-to-back offensive line for the first time in a decade. Our offensive line coach looks like he's staying. So, we've had no consistency up front. So, yes, I think it just basically he made it to what he has. He knows the cards he's been dealt. He knows where they're not going to say it publicly, but I'm sure he wish we had a better, beefier offensive line that can generate a more, his style offense like he looks over at the 49ers, where we can set up. We just don't have that. For one, injuries. Our big gun, the big guy we pay the most money to, has never played a full season in his life. And then this year, Connor Williams got hurt, and our offense went down. When he got hurt, I know Phillips' injury gets all the news and all that, but Connor Williams' injury was I think the biggest blow to the Dolphins this year. We just lost that edge on offense the minute he got hurt in the Titans game. And that Titans game bit us in the butt so many different ways, man. And to me, yes, you're right, Steve. This offense, Chris said it too. This was made for Tua and lack of great offensive line, because he gets it off that quick. So it looks like, he's one of the least pressure, but it's because he's getting it off that quick. Because when you actually look at pressures, he does get pressured a lot. So there's my long-winded answer to your long-winded question, Steve. I'll let Chris.
No, that's fine. I do ask.
I thought it was good.
Questions.
Yeah, I know. Exactly.
It was.
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
It was a great answer.
Capitan.
I'll say this. to me, it's a bit of both, right? Yeah. As far as why. Mm-hmm. Now, I think more often than not in the success, and I seen somebody's comment, I think Poppy video, that what it says? Yeah, wouldn't you want your quarterback to throw to his first read if they're open? And yes, in the macro of an answer, yes. I would say more along the lines, I err to that great play design and the weapons instilled by Mike McDaniel in this offense. Because if the first read's open, then typically the play drawn up, because the play that called worked, and that's great. And that's kind of the deal. So that inside that 3-second little bubble, in which they've proved inside that 2.5, 2.6 second bubble, they can do that. It's when that doesn't happen, what happens. So I would say 50% of the time beyond that, I can clearly remember plays where Tua has time in the pocket and he's got happy feet back there because the first read was closed. Right. But I can also remember there hasn't been time in the pocket and Tua has stepped up and made a play. Now, honestly, you guys probably saw me writing it down. I am going to look into that. This has opened up a good question. What's happening in these plays? Now, it's a lot of film to go through, but I'm going to look into the data because, to be honest, I don't know, but I also do know this. That offensive line, even with injuries, is much improved. It is much improved. It has been in the run game consistently all year for the most part, and it has been in pass protection. If you don't believe me, look at last year and this year. It's
I think Barry,
the proof is in the pudding.
I think our Barry line coach, and we were all like, when he hired, just proves that we don't know all. We're like, why are we hiring Butch Barry? He has sticky notes and he does this and that, and then the next thing you know, we've had the best offensive line we had for a while under his coaching.
When I looked at Butch Barry and the whole thing, I judged what they were before him and what they were after or during, and everywhere he went, he instilled, especially when he hooked his play calling up to the system that we have here with the outside zone, he is perfect. And so that, to me, it even gets into a little bit of a draft discussion I had recently that, look at how the Niners have done it with their offensive line. Yeah, they get a bookend, but there's pieces up and down that offensive line that are middle round pick guys or free agent dudes that are super well effective running this system. And I think we finally might have that. Now, will we have the top number 1, 2, or 3 offensive line? No, but I think we found consistency in the trenches on the offensive line, which I don't care what you got to do. If that's the case, you sign that man to a lifetime deal. You give that guy a yacht. You do whatever you got to do to keep that consistency for as long as possible.
Yeah, which brings me to the point of, I know there's a lot of fans out there that are saying, well, we need a better O-line. We need to get some more pieces on the O-line. Okay. We got Connor Williams, who's a free agent, right? We've got Robert Hunt, free agent. We got Wynn, who's just a guy, although he played solid. We've already locked in Austin Jackson, right?
Don't forget Kendall Lamb. Kendall Lamb is a free agent as well. And I'm sorry. You better bring that man back.
I know.
You better bring him back.
Yeah, agreed. I said that last week. We need to bring him back. And I also said that we don't need an all-pro across the line to be a good O-line. With the scheme that McDaniel runs, and you want to throw Barry in there, you can. Butch Barry, you can throw him in there too. With that scheme that they have, they don't need an all-pro line. They just need guys like a Robert Hunt, which I think we should sign. I think we should sign Connor Williams. But hell, where are we going to get the money to sign these guys? That's the problem.
Connor Williams going to be healthy to start the year.
And if Connor Williams is going to be healthy, great point, Rob. So
I would say this real quick, that the money you'd sign Connor Williams for, you could split that up and have left over if you signed Lamb and win with that money. You know what I'm saying? You could probably
because he's gonna demand at least 14-15 million.
He wants north of 13. You're absolutely right. Now whether he'll get that or not, who knows? But chances are, if he's going to tread on the open market, he's going to get it. Because there's a lot of teams that could use his services with offensive line situations that are in bad straits and an answer at
be
one.
Willing to take him, and if they'd be like, well, he's going to maybe miss the beginning of the season, but we'll have him for the stretch run, and he'd be healthy and ready to go.
His transition from guard to center has been fruitful for that guy, and good for him.
For sure, 100% without a doubt. And it's another movie. So every so often, I'm the first to admit when I'm wrong. Like, oh my God, here we are signing another guy, moving him again to another position. We're doing testing when everyone else is just out there playing, and this one worked. So I give him kudos. This worked. Mine is a couple bad snaps. That's going to happen. It's football.
Yeah.
Things happen on the football field. I can live a couple bad snaps with the blocking that he's done. So.
Dude, he was a number 1 rated center in football.
Yeah. But here's the thing, right? When the Dolphins got him, I believe that was his 5th year in the NFL or his 4th.
I think it was his 5th year.
I think it was his 5th year.
I think you're right. Yeah.
He played okay. A lot of penalties. Sometimes he played better than others, but found his home at the center position and really knocked it out of the park in his career now in his 5th year.
Yeah.
Well, isn't it the 4th year coming up for Eichenberg? Isn't that what it is?
I think it is the 4th year.
Yeah, man, time flies.
Eichenberg belongs in the freaking XFL. Let's just.
But hold up. Hold up.
That's my opinion, anyway.
You lose this Connor Williams. I believe Eichenberg, as we can all agree, the quality that is killing his game is his short arms. It's killing his game.
Yeah.
It is that more than anything, because he gets caught reaching or gets caught not with foot control or anything like that. His short arms have killed him.
Yeah.
But just like Connor, where he also has short arms, that's why he as a guard was getting in trouble once he started playing better, because he was trying to get the jump.
Right.
Transitions to center, you got the jump. I snapped the ball. Nobody got the jump but me.
Yeah.
If you want to be real. The whole offense waits for me. I got the jump.
Right.
If we could see that in year 4 from Eichenberg, it'll be a whole year faster than Connor Williams. And if it's even incremental better, could you project the type of 5th year that Connor Williams got for Liam Eichenberg? It's just something to ponder when we're talking about paying guys. We're talking about paying guys. And I say Connor goodbye.
That's true.
He's not a big Eichenberg guy.
I'm not a big Eichenberg guy. You can't sell me on that. I'm sorry. You just can't.
Hey, don't act like I didn't pitch the sale good, though. Yeah, it's about as good.
You almost had me there. You almost had me there for a minute.
And then we draft a center in the 2nd round just to be safe.
Eichenberg is an okay guy to have on the roster, Steve.
I'm
in a pinch. You need a guy like that can go in on game day and play.
You know me, Rob. I'm exaggerating a little bit. I don't think he belongs in the XFL, maybe the USFL, but no, I think he could be a good backup. That's how I see him, as a good serviceable backup, and that's the way he played. If you go to the PFF, I don't know how much you're into the PFF. I don't take it as gospel, but I take it as a performance indicator. And if you look at that in his stats for that, his performance, he played like a serviceable backup.
Yeah, I would say so.
And this is the question I have, going back to what I mentioned earlier. We don't need an all-pro offensive line in order to do what Tua has to do to get the ball out if he's gonna go forward and be our quarterback, which I think he is. And I believe he does deserve another year. I don't think we should pay him, a Burrow money or Herbert money or any of those guys. I think we should let him play on his 5th year option. And I heard you today, Cap. If he balls out, pay him. I'm not gonna hold back paying him. Pay the man. If he gets us to a Super Bowl, wins a division, or gets us to a playoff, wins a playoff game or 2 or division, pay the man. But don't pay him. He hasn't done shit. He hasn't done crap yet.
Yeah, no, you're right.
He really hasn't. So anyway,
I'm right there with you. I am so in that zone. Now, listen, I'm not saying I don't see the logic in paying him, with manipulating the cap, with all the things you got to do.
Yeah, I see that.
And, depending on what kind of, guaranteed monies, like, look, if they trot him out, and say, it's $175 million over whatever many years in guarantees, and the contract comes back in a Super Bowl favorable mode, I'm not going to be upset by that, right? Mm-hmm. But it does change things. And I'm not going to be upset in the other end if they run the 5th year with the guy, because I think that's the right move. What's the worst that's going to happen? Mm-hmm. He balls out, and now I got to pay him more than the 175. I don't care about paying a guy who's doing it and getting it done. What we will be upset about is if they pay him in the likes of the money we're hearing, first of all, because I'm hearing some crazy numbers.
Yeah.
And then it's a failure, because that will kill us. That will piss me off.
Yeah.
And we don't have to. So I'm just like with the team when they sell me on stuff, I am much more cautious. They have taken some chances, with the Mike McDaniel, with the Tua, and they have said we're doubling down, we're doing this, we're doing that, and it's kind of panned out for the better part because the team has incrementally gotten better. But this is a huge decision. This is everybody lose their job decision coming up. The whole friggin' lot of you are going to be jobless. And you know who suffers? Not you jobless. We suffer again. We suffer.
No, you're 100% correct on that.
For another 24 years.
Yeah, exactly.
This kills you, bro. You miss on this and mess this up. This kills you.
It'd be Ryan Tannehill contract all over again, then dump them for a late round pick and, move on. And it's just like,
something we keep hearing though? How many, and you guys can contest this. You hear, you're worried about signing a quarterback because of Tannehill, right? And they say, I forget what they call it. They say, I can't remember. Anyhow, they basically say we're scarred from Tannehill. I say the people who are so rushed to sign the quarterback and afraid of losing out on a situation, you're still scarred from Drew Brees. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the same sentiment. It's not the Tannehill, I got buyer's remorse. I think you guys have even more buyer's remorse because you want to end the cycle we're in. And I'm telling and trying to let people know, you mess this up and pay this guy and it don't work out, the cycle doesn't just continue. We are in for a decade of figuring it back out because it is a full 4-year process, a refix, and then 2 years of destroying and rebuilding before we can even get to the point we were at heading into the 2023 season. And that is something that is painful, bro. Painful.
Yeah, and you said rebuilding. The rebuilding ended last year. People don't realize that.
Yeah, bro.
The rebuilding was last year. Steve, was the rebuilding.
Steve, that was the year. You want to know how I know? We're $60 million over the cap. This was the year. We just missed it. We missed it. That was the time, bro.
Yeah.
What answers do I have differently from last offseason to this? None. I've got no other answers.
If anything, we have more questions.
Yes, and money problems.
Now in the offseason, we have more. We got like an extra win during the season. Big, it doesn't matter. To me, it's another disappointing year. And I said anything short of at least a playoff. I wasn't like you, Steve, saying Super Bowl appearance. I was saying at least a playoff win would be a failure. And they didn't get the playoff win. They went in there. I know we can try to hold we lost to the eventual Super Bowl champions, but it's just
I ain't playing that game, dog. I ain't playing that game, bro.
Yeah, me either. We
lost. I'm a real old school Miami Dolphin. I might look young, but I'm an old school Miami Dolphin fan. We don't play that excuse game. That's why I don't like hearing, the injuries. You know how many times I heard how injuries ruined my season the last 30-some-odd years? Yeah, I'm not listening to that. Absolutely. The injury schminjury, bro. Yes, is injury going to prevent us from winning the AFC Championship, winning the Super Bowl, whatever? Sure. But it doesn't excuse the embarrassment I saw in the playoffs. It doesn't excuse the embarrassment I saw at home against the Bills. That's it. That's plain and simple.
They collapsed in December again after we all bought in the train again, saying it was going to be different this year, and we didn't. Losing the division this year was the biggest punch in the mouth. We had a 3-game lead going into December, and you couldn't even hold on.
Bro,
you can't beat Tennessee, can't beat Buffalo on your home turf.
When again, to point out this was our year, right? When in the past however many years can you remember being that late in the season, have a clear line sight for the number 1 seed? Yeah. A clear line sight for the number 1. And then once that went, and then after the Ravens game was over, then it was like, all right, we win in this division at least. Nope. That don't happen. All right, well, the Chiefs have been struggling. They haven't been the Chiefs of old.
Oh,
We should be able to get it. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Lose to them over the pond. These guys that make the excuses, they think I forgot all the excuses they made when the Dolphins lost to the Chiefs earlier in the year and how much crap they talked before and after. To have that showing against them, I don't care how cold it is. I don't care how many injuries.
No.
It does not dictate the piss-poor performance, specifically in the passing game. That's it.
No, and they lost both games against Kansas City, and it was bad. In the regular season, they lost it, and in the playoffs, they lost it, and it stunk again to be a Dolphin fan, man. I was like, it just stinks. I mean, December was awful, and this year I really thought I bought in Steve saying, this year feels different because I'm normally waiting for the collapse. I'm waiting for that other shoe to drop. But this year, and this year feels different. We got a special vibe going on, and it was just the same old Dolphins at the end of the day.
No, you're right. Absolutely.
The stars lined up, guys.
Yeah,
those were about as aligned of the stars that I can remember seeing in a dog's age,
and
dude.
that doesn't happen very often.
Down here that won the Super Bowl, so
how many AFC starting quarterbacks went down?
Joe Burrow.
Oh, there's a lot of money.
Aaron Rodgers.
Seven,
more than
8?
Half.
Yeah,
like half,
maybe more.
I mean,
Yeah, you're
crazy.
Right. You're right.
Everything lined up in such a way.
And that brings me to this point. You paying Tua that big money, and let's say we were lucky that he didn't get hurt last year. And it's my opinion that they were protecting him, or he was protecting himself. One of the two. But either way, okay, he was protecting him, or they were protecting him, or he was protecting himself. But either way, if he would have got hurt last year, that here we are.
We would have answers. We would have
answers, right? But he didn't. He made it through. Had a statistical year. I mean, it was out of this world. Big deal. We didn't get us anywhere. But the bottom line, you pay him this big money and he goes down. Now what are you going to do? We don't even have an insurance policy. We don't even have a good backup. Somebody that's developing behind him.
If he signs the big money down the road. But, this year, like we mentioned on the show, both you and Chris, it would free up money this year, but big what we do if this year doesn't lead to anything.
If you can free up all the money this year, but how about the next 2 years after that? You don't have crap. You're not even going to have the players.
What's it really cost you? It's going to cost you everything.
Yeah.
You can free up money this year to maneuver this, and the cap goes up. But ultimately, you sign a quarterback and it doesn't work, it costs you it all.
No, I agree.
Dude, but people don't understand. The cap goes up, right, which is like 3-4%, something like that. Player salaries go up too. Hello.
They say it's going to
It's all relative, bro.
I don't know if that Gov Cleve, whatever his name is, he really knows, but he says it's going to go way up. But like you said, then salaries go up. But it will help us get under the cap at least, if anything. But
well, I guess depends on how you look at it. But let me get into this. Anyway, I wanted to talk about a little.
Let me talk one more thing about Tua.
No, you can't.
A lot of reasons.
No more. No, that's it. No.
That's it.
Go ahead, man.
And the reason I say is the 5th-year option. This is why teams sometimes move into the back end of the first round because they want that. Take advantage of the 5th-year option. It's a team's home court. They get that advantage. They get keep control of a player for that extra 5th year if they take them in the first round. Make use of it. Yes, you may have to free up a little more money and let some people walk, but because you have to pay Tua. It's protected against injury and everything. So you got to pay him. So you might as well take advantage of it. What are you going to do? Trim a couple million off this year to sign another guy, and in hopes that guy turns? No, just give him the 5th-year option. You took him in the first round. Use advantage of that 5th year, and then you know what? And if we can't come to a franchise, tag his ass again if he plays great and he doesn't want to. You
can do it. You can do it twice. You can do it twice.
Another control.
I think you might be able to get 3 times. Yeah, I think
you're right.
It's just if you can't come up a big term. I mean, you
might be making $120 million that year when you hit that third one with the cap going up. But whatever.
And if you get nailed, but if he's playing well, and that's it. I mean, I say let him play on the 5th. Yes, I know they can free up money this year, but I'm tired of doing things in the short.
But is the award higher than the risk? Or is the risk higher than the award? What? I don't know. You know what I mean.
The risk is it all. And here's the one thing I wonder, right? Think about Stephen Ross. Okay? Yeah. The last time he was faced with this decision, it was Tannehill. Mm-hmm. And he knows how that worked out. And he knows that he had to eat money while the man played somewhere else.
Yep.
Okay? Now, it's not like the guy ain't got money to burn. We know this to be true. It's the one and only most redeeming quality of Stephen Ross is that he's willing to open up the book. A lot of the other stuff is very questionable. Right. But look, he signed up for the tank. He's gone all this way in. He knows the potential outcome if this goes wrong, correct?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I just had it. Hold on a second. We also know
it's all right. You're getting
that there's been a literal instance where he tried to get somebody else to take this kid's job. We lost draft picks over another quarterback being on a boat. Him, Stephen Ross, the owner, trying to find Tua's replacement. Is he going to think about that? Because it's not just him. We remember it was Deshaun Watson. We remember it was Tom Brady. We remember it was Joe Burrow. We remember it was Lamar Jackson last year. 4 years he's been playing, 4 other quarterbacks linked to it. Now, this might be the first time there's not another quarterback linked. But is that going to be worthy of paying this guy probably north of $100 million up front? I mean, listen, if we're being real, it's probably most certainly going to happen. But if it didn't, I would say that that's the reason why.
Yeah.
And it'll come down to Stephen Ross saying, no,
yeah,
we're going to ride this 5th year. It didn't work out with Tannehill. No, it's been 4 years where I've tried to find his replacement, and you with me here, the guy that's going to pay him. So that's what it's going to come down to. And we're going to find out here probably before the month of March is over. We're going to know.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
We're going to know.
Here's the thing I want to know too. Why are they taking so long? If they already know that he's the franchise quarterback, why aren't they paid him already? Why haven't they done it?
So there's a couple of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the language in the contract from both sides are running into disagreements in things. Because if I'm going to play devil's advocate and play both sides of this ball, right? If I'm the Tua camp, first of all, I want as much money as I can get.
Sure.
Duh. But I also want contingencies that if I get injured, knowing his injury history, that there's guarantees for such. So where are they going? They're going to have to come to the table. The Dolphins can still, at the offering table, say to him, listen, you've got injuries. I give you $100 million. You go down. What sort of guarantees do I have? It's a very, and where's the disconnect at this point? How much does Tua and his camp believe he's worth?
Yeah,
if you take the body of both of the stats and then the other stuff and what the organization has done specifically for him, also what they've done specifically to him. I just said they've shot for 4 other quarterbacks.
Yeah,
like they got to think about that in guarantees too. They're like, yeah, you might give me $100 million, but in 2 years I'm all out of the job. You know what I'm saying? This is a very dicey contract, and I would be very interested to see the language in it when it's all said and done.
It's going to be all about the guaranteed money, as Steve has mentioned a couple of times. How much?
Well, that's what it is for us. That's what it is for us, and what matters. I'm talking about why this is such an interesting contract right now. Interesting contract.
Yeah, for sure.
Because he's good. I'm not going to say he's awful, but he's good, but he's not great, is what I always say. And that's
you know what's funny is I heard somebody say today on one of the spaces, I heard somebody say, well, if we got to pay him that $55 million, we pay him that $55 million, Tua's going to ball out, man. Then they're going to let him loose and do what he wants and this and that. That is the most ridiculous take I've ever heard in my life. Really, dude? Just because we pay you $55 million now you're going to open up and
I have echoed it because that's the sycophancy that we can come to expect out of a certain portion of this fan base. I have echoed it. There's a sentiment that he's playing reserved till he gets his contract, and once he does, the real Tua Tagovailoa will stand up with the balling out factor, and I find that to be absolutely asinine.
Of course, because you have to ball out to get that big contract. So he's balling out to the best of his ability is how I look at it. Because
now
it's well. Like I said, we could do 24/7. It seems like around here. So it's just
and we're going to do 2 a 24/7 until
we got so many other
until
issues.
he gets signed. If he does sign, what it is. If he doesn't sign, that's part of it.
It's the talk of the town right now. But anyway, I did want to get to we're got about 5-10 minutes here. I wanted to get to Anthony Weaver. Rob, you have some of the coaches that Anthony Weaver has brought in.
The Dolphins brought it. The most recent Ronnie Bradford, who was actually a draft pick on the Miami Dolphins, never played for the Dolphins, but was drafted for the Dolphins. And they brought in Joe Barry for linebacker coach, Ryan Crow, outside linebackers, secondary passing game coordinator, Brian Duker, and Deshaun Sheed, who I don't know what role he's going to be. And Ronnie Bradford was senior special teams. I don't know if that senior is just a fancy word for a special teams assistant, or is he actually going to tell Crossman, hey, dude, you fix up your damn unit? I hope he has that kind of power.
Gotcha.
He's consistent to Crossman. But hopefully, because special teams is another weak part of a lineup. But those are the guys. And if there's anyone I missed, and obviously Weaver.
Nah, you got them all.
Yeah. And I just wanted to touch a little bit on Weaver here, but before I do that, I just want to thank everybody for joining us in the chat tonight. I appreciate you all joining us. We couldn't do this without you guys. I see Hunter's in there, Hooked Up Joe, Raphael, Arlo, B. McDee's in here. We got a lot of folks in here tonight, and I appreciate you for joining us tonight. And please hit that like button if you haven't already. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and share with your friends, your families, and your neighbors, and join the Dolphin community here. So the question I had for you, Capitan, is what is your thoughts on Anthony Weaver, the defensive coordinator that we presently have?
So I'm trying to go in this with a clear head with this guy. I'm not jumping to conclusions. There is things worrisome to me as far as his tenure as a coach. Yes, he's had success as a position coach, but there's a lot of unknowns. There's a lot that, when he was in Houston calling defense, didn't really work out. There's excuses made for that. Plus, I think he was still, thrusted in there way too early to be a little bit more sensitive to his subject. But the defensive staff as a whole, question marks. The guy from Tennessee is elevated into a position he hasn't done. The dude from Green Bay, who as a defensive coordinator has been an epic failure for the most part. It hasn't been successful, and he's lost his jobs because of his failures. Call it however you want. Now, as a position coach, he's had success, and I like that there might be a little bit more of an emphasis through the defense at the linebacker position, in particularly, especially a linebacker played at, how I did when I played, and I feel like it's a very underutilized position in today's day and age. You got elite linebackers, it makes up for a lot, bro. But you need that.
I wish we had elite linebackers.
God, dude, the elite linebackers are game-changing. But anyhow, I don't know. I'm kind of indifferent, right? I don't really have a lot to go off of to be critical, which is a scary position for Dolphins fans. But it could be hopeful.
Yeah.
It's not too dissimilar to Mike McDaniel coming in as the head coach. Now, there is a little bit more in his staff, but in hires on both sides of the ball, if you want to be real, especially recognizable things. Wes Welker, Madison, you know what I'm saying? Like, the team did a good job sprinkling in names we would understand and like. I don't like this part, though, of the Anthony Weaver hiring. This is how things worked out with Fangio. Because I'm sorry, Dolphin fans love to crap on people out the building and then make up stories of why this didn't work. And there's probably a lot of truth to some of these stories. But again, I find it very discerning, bothersome to me that Fangio, super effective throughout the, once the system got installed, super effective in the latter part of the year as the position group started to dwindle. And I felt like, hey, we got an old head to go opposite of our young guy, and we can be effective. Whether or not Anthony, I'm not going to put that on Weaver and what he may or may not be able to do, but I still am. If Weaver is a failure, I'm not going to blame him like I know they're going to do. I will. He'll have his blame, but I'll look back to the organization who fumbled with the defensive coordinator that didn't work out, and it all cruxes. The excuses we're here is eerily similar to they don't work well with others. Like these coaches are the problems and stuff. Like I don't like that nonsense. I don't like how the leaders in the rooms are being ousted by whomever. You know what I'm saying? Like they're the leaders. Do what they say and be effective. And I watched Fangio be the leader of the defense and call plays. Yes, there was some boneheads, but I don't care what anybody says. And the majority of the losses at the end of the season, even with the injuries, you cannot lay that at the feet at the defense. You can't. No, and if you do, you're a dummy. You're a dummy. I can't help you. I can't help people that don't see that because they obviously don't know enough. They got to watch for a couple decades to understand that that's the facts.
Yeah.
And real quick, Hunter, it was Dave Wannstedt, actually. You got to go past Joe Philbin that won our last playoff game, Hunter. It was Dave Wannstedt.
Yep, Dave Wannstedt. And he got absolutely...
I wasn't as recent as Joe Philbin. It wouldn't be so long ago, But it was Dave Wannstedt that got
and remember how they did him dirty when they fired him, too. Remember all the... Oh, my God, they did him dirty. Mm-hmm. I hated him. Because of how they presented I was like, this guy is terrible. Yeah. He was the last guy to win us a playoff game.
Yeah,
that's crazy. It's crazy. But my feelings on Anthony Weaver is it's a wait and see for me. I was happy that we got Vic Fangio. I was one of the guys that wanted him. But everybody was hyping him up and everything. And I told everybody on this channel, I said, calm down. We don't have any evidence that he's going to make this a good defense or whatnot. He may not have the pieces, whatever. Well, he proved me wrong. We were like the top 5 defense, right? So he did a great job. And I really didn't like to see him go, especially in the way that they just kicked him out the door, right? But anyway, and people have opinions, he had 1 foot in, 1 foot out. He was really going to go to Philly and all that. We don't know, right? We're not a fly on the wall in the room and know exactly what these folks are talking behind closed doors. But the bottom line is I liked him. He had this defense cooking, and he even expressed at the beginning of the year, before the beginning of the year, during training camp, that he didn't have all the pieces that he wanted to make this defense work. And I get it. He's an old school guy, and every defensive coordinator, every offensive coordinator, they have their style, right? They have their style, and you're not going to change that. They're comfortable with that style.
But here's the thing, Steve. We've seen teams now with the story that followed him out the door that you're referring to. We've seen that actually be the case. And you know how we've seen it? Because players on the field quit. They quit on guys that are like that.
Right.
I didn't see quit from my defense at the end of the year. Are you kidding me? That's not what I seen. So when that's the tale that they're telling me, I have a hard time believing that. I really do. Because that defense, they had ample opportunities and excuses to quit on him. And I did not see. I saw guys rise up to the occasion and do better.
Well, hey, Christian Wilkins for one. Maybe he dropped a little bit in the tackles category, but he had 9.5
Christian Wilkins
sacks
played
this
amazing,
year.
Bro. He played amazing.
He played amazing.
I didn't think he had it in him to take another step. I thought he had hit his
Me
wall,
too.
And
Me
I
too.
was wrong. I was wrong.
I was wrong too on him.
I was wrong.
Yeah, I was wrong. I was wrong too. But Zach Sealer played pretty well too. I mean, he had 10 sacks, and he I think he had maybe just a few tackles less than Chris Wilkins. They both played solid last year. They both played great last year under Vic Fangio, right? And with injuries, we had all these injuries. We still, they kept us in the game. The KC game, they kept us in the game. Hey, even frickin' Jalen Waddle said, "Man, we've only scored 7 points, and these defense has all these injuries, and what's wrong with us, right? What's wrong with the offense?
I mean, listen, one touchdown score from the offense could have changed that game so much more, an extra touchdown, because that defense was holding them. They were holding. It was pretty much 2 drives that they couldn't hold Patrick Mahomes in the machine. Right. The remainder of it, they showed up in bad field position at times, and then when it seemed like the Chiefs were cooking and going to put it to us, they held them to field goals. They did a great job, man, in that atmosphere. I was pleased. So I know exactly what you're saying. I'm right there with you, bro. I did not like, because I knew we knew it was going to happen. We knew that they were going to start blaming the defense and knew that they were going to, blame injuries. And here we are. And it's just not the facts, bro. It's really not. It is fodder at the least. And the organization co-signs it. They co-sign it, bro. Yeah, where do you think this stuff comes from?
I know.
Where do you think it comes from? They're all right with certain things being the problems, as long as you're not looking at what really is the problem.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. And like I said, this is one of the reasons why we started this platform here, is so we can, we can voice how we really feel and what we really see. And,
it says real talk in that corner right there, dog.
There you go, brother.
It says real talk right there in that corner.
We may not be in the building. But I mean, look, between Rob and I, we have over 90 years of football experience, eyes on football for over 90 years. Okay. So the eye test is probably the best test that you can use in evaluating player, performances.
We've seen
a
lot of tricks over the years.
Yeah.
We know what tricks work.
Yeah.
But not when it comes to the football. That's the best. I think that's what I love most about football, right? And probably you guys too, is that it's kind of like boxing too in that aspect. You can do all these things, all this stuff. You can't stop what the sport really is. It's a gladiator sport. If the heart is bigger in the other opponent, your fast guys will give up, your D line will give up. You can just push up on them and just go hard and beat their will. It is a game of will. And who chinks in their armor or falters first or stumbles and doesn't recover will lose. And that's how football, you can always feel it, especially in the stadium. And this is, I feel like a lot of, especially online Dolphins fans, they got to get to a game because you can feel in the wins, you got to feel the losses in close games, because when you ride that roller coaster and you can feel the energy and then something happens and you feel that energy go and then you don't get that thing back up and a little bit of time passes, you know what's happening. It's such a weird game inside the stadium. And so it pains me to see the fan base continue to fall for tricks when they really need to remember what the will is.
Yeah, absolutely. Good point. So we're going to leave it at that. Capitan, I appreciate you coming on tonight, brother. We'll probably have you on again here. I can't guarantee when, but I'd love for you to come back if you're able. I enjoyed the conversation here. Rob, you know how I feel about you, brother. I couldn't do this without you either, man. You're the producer, the chief cook, and the water. What is it? Waddle. Well, you know what I mean.
I know, I got you. I'm the water boy. I'm everything.
Everything. You're just
making
everything.
a Gatorade and stuff.
Chief cook and bottle washer. That's what it is. Chief cook and bottle
Bobby,
washer.
trust me.
I got it right.
Bobby, trust me with access to the Fins Talk Sports Network. So he's crazy, but hey, it's all good. So it's good.
Absolutely. So we're just going to call it a night. And I appreciate everybody that joined us in tonight here in the chat and everything. It's been great. And we'll be back again next week. Same time, same channel. So remember.
Hey, you're sneaking up on me, Steve. Sorry, I was trying to get all those comments in. Give me 1 second here. All right. I'm finding his. Okay, I found it.
All right, guys. Remember. Dolphins number one, baby!
Dolphins number one. Fins up. Thank you, guys.
Hey, Miami sports fans. Stop by Canesware today at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Florida. And check out their awesome merchandise selection of your favorite South Florida sports teams. From the Miami Dolphins, Hurricanes, Heat, Marlins, Florida Panthers, and Inter Miami, they've got it all. Celebrate your favorite team and show off your fandom with their beautiful team starter jackets, killer-looking helmets, team jerseys, cool shirts, and more. And if you're out of town or out of state, no worries. Go to caneswear.com and find everything they have on their site. Select what you want and they will ship your gear to you. Anything over $99 is shipped